Hello, YouTube! I'm Random, and we're back today picking apart more STD. In case I haven't been super clear on videos, I really don't like this show. Now, I could just stop watching, but I really want to get excited for Star Trek. I loved the other Trek shows, and hell, there was even a really good season of Enterprise at the end. I just don't want to accept this trendy Game of Thrones in space. Gee, Battlestar Galactica is popular, so let's be that. Sorry excuse for Star Trek. Oh, this time we're taking a look at episode 7, Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad, aka this title will make us sound smart if we name our episode this, aka we read a book once. These pretentious titles are really grating. I just call this our Groundhog Day episode because that's what everyone will remember about it. And hey, look at Michael Burnham. That's the expression I make when I see not Spock in the first shot of the show. What gives? That's my expression. Why are you stealing that from me? So not Spock is going around doing her captain's log thing, even though she's not the captain and telling us she's found her place and is making friends or whatever. I guess this mess hall has assigned seating? I mean, those two aliens in the back are in the exact same place as they were last time not Spock was eating lunch with Tilly. Because I wanted to look at them. I want to know about these two. Who are they? We don't know. They're just extras. Went into makeup at 4 a.m. They're like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to be on Star Trek. Nothing. They're not using them. Oh my god, she can smile. Sure, it's that kind of smile that says, I've never smiled before in my life, but she can smile. Who knew? I guess she just wants to step out of her comfort zone and attend that big party thing the ship's having and I guess be a person for once. Alright, so we're at the party and I want that shirt that Tilly's wearing. I don't usually go for the super high neckline, but it's loose enough fitting where I think it would work. But I like it. It's fun. And of course we see Tilly and the crew partying a bit. So Tilly, being one of the few likable things in the show, tries to tell Burnham to let Tyler know she likes him before she loses her shot. And Tilly's pretty tipsy here. I do love the fact that a normal-sized girl is pretty much the sex symbol of the show. Almost every review I see praises her. Oh, before the totally non-Klingon can put his moves on Burnham, they get called to the bridge. They're all disappointed. But Stamets is still high in the magic mushroom drive. And he hugs Burnham after she accidentally knocks all the work out of his hands. Of course, as he's being super high as a kite, Stamets shows off his new I can interface with the mushroom drive sticker. I guess it's supposed to be an implant or whatever. This is kind of funny because as he's being all high, he does tell Ash Tyler that he's astonishingly grounded for someone who was tortured by Klingons for 7 months. It's well, yeah, I mean, our captain acts like he's from the Mirror Universe. Michael Burnham goes around pretending to be a Vulcan. And our chief spore drive dude is acting like he dropped a handful of orange LSD and is sitting out in the rain at Woodstock, Of course, Ash is the most grounded person. Aside from Tilly. Tilly's pretty grounded. But the reason they all got called to the bridge was because the ship detected a thing. A great big thing, pretty much a space whale. It's a Gormagander. It's an endangered thing and it's distressed. And protocol requires them to take it to safety. Well, no wonder the space whale's distressed. It ate Bugs Bunny and he has a gun. I'd be distressed too. I guess this could be an Andorian space helmet. I mean, it's got the antenna. Our intruder goes around wasting most of the crew except not Spock. She calls up to the bridge so they can try and block off his path. Hey, that's not Bugs Bunny. It's good old Harry Mudd. The guy that used his fan service on that not D7 battlecruiser prison ship thing a few episodes ago. It's never going to be Bugs Bunny, is it? So Harry Mudd's pissed that Lorca left him on that Klingon ship and to rot as he escaped with Ash Tyler. Mudd's plan is to sell the Discovery ship to the Klingons for vengeance? Profit? I don't know. But he couldn't have been on that Klingon ship for like that long, right? It's only been another couple of weeks in Showtime. I don't know. When is this supposed to air? Is this supposed to air like now on Groundhog's Day as I'm recording this? Because I don't know. It just doesn't really fit. I'll get more into that later, but like, furthermore, how did Harry Mudd actually escape? You know, I'm sure they'll give us a nice detailed explanation with a nice flashback sequence and or not. The ship's blown up. Oh no. I mean, show's over, I guess. Yay! Show's over. We can go home, right? Oh, we're not that lucky. By the way, I did nothing to the shot. This is just how the show looks. And we're back at that same part of the scene from the beginning. Did I mention this is the Groundhog Day episode? Yeah, I guess from all the lens flare chubbies that they got for the show, that's Ash at the party. I can barely tell. So here's where I have my biggest issue with this episode and this show, right? In an episode like this, we have Stamets, who should be the focus. But no, this is a Michael Burnham show. You know, sure, it saves a lot of time repeats to follow the person that doesn't know we're in a time loop, I suppose. But it really fails for me. I would love to see his perspective. He does actually know the repeating days, right? Like, how many days has it been? It's just it's just fascinating to me that the show insists so much on Michael Burnham being our main character and shoving her down our throats, whether we want her or not, that they can't even allow someone else to be the main character for once. Even when the plot revolves around him knowing that we're in a time repeat. It's just ridiculous, you know? So, of course, Stamets flips out and warns her that, oh, I'll start with a Gormagander. And since it's such a weird coincidence for Stamets to be right about the space whale, Ash Tyler insists on going to Burnham, going with Burnham down to the transporter bay or whatever, just in case. At least this is kind of how real Starfleet people would be. I mean, if this were Enterprise, the person that knows repeating days would go the captain. Of course, this is Discovery, and Lorca doesn't even care that protocol requires them to save the space whale thing. He's acting like it's a big pain in his ass, so... Since they were ready for something to be inside the space whale, Harry Mudd decided to beam directly to the Spore engineering room place. You know, it's not like we have a main engineering area that we ever see in the show. $8 million an episode, and we never actually see engineering, but whatever. It's not like the ship never uses warp. I mean, they do all the time. They can't use the Spore drive every second. Heck, they've even been ordered not to most of the time. But Burnham learns that Ash has a history with Harry Mudd. Mudd had that little pet bug thingy that called Stuart from that prison episode. So apparently that helped him escape. You know, gee, why couldn't we see that? Probably be more interesting than watching a Groundhog Day episode. Oh, I'm pretty sure site-to-site transporting was rarely used because it ate up a ton of resources. Also, you usually needed a transporter operator to do the beaming. That's okay, though. I'm sure this won't be abused later in this episode, right? So Stamets is there just in time to shoot Mudd before he gets Burnham to tell him how to use the Spore drive thing. So Stamets has done this many, many times before. Again, it'd be nice to know, or to like follow the guy who knows we're doing this stuff over and over again, but this is the Michael Burnham show. And the ship goes boom again, and we reset again. Now, I usually like Groundhog Day type of episodes of shows. You know, in fact, one of my favorite episodes of Stargate SG-1 is Window of Opportunity. The difference is, and this is a screenshot from Stargate, in case you didn't know, the big difference is, when they repeat days over and over again, we see actual funny moments. We follow the characters who know that it's happening. There's a reason that it's happening. There's a pretty decent reason that it's happening, and they have objectives to do in their time repeats. But, you know, we see actual funny moments with actual characters we actually like and actually care about in Stargate. Plus, that was 4 seasons in. They didn't try to throw a time repeat episode 7 episodes into your main series, like Discovery did. You know, plus Discovery just throws Harry Mudd around like he's fan service, like he's a reference. I actually had to stop watching this and go watch some Stargate just to kind of cleanse my palate and watch something good. Oh, back to Discovery. So Stamets corners Burnham on her way up to the space whale thing to tell her about the loop. I could not, for the life of me, get a screenshot of her looking like an actual person being told something. I just don't even... Like she goes from this I don't care expression to this I don't believe you to this face to... And then, like, this one... Like, I just can't even look at her face anymore. She's just... she's either overacting or underacting or being directed weird. It's like watching Kristen Stewart on Twilight. Like, what are you doing with your face? Are you an actress? I'm not an actress. Like, I know I probably have weird expressions, but I'm not an actress on a TV show. On multiple TV shows. I just can't tell with this woman. She wants to get Stamets to sickbay to get checked out, and, you know, at least he's like, stop talking. that was funny. I like that. But Lorca gets a call from sickbay. It's actually Mudd trying to get the captain off the bridge. He needs the captain to help out, and then he activates the self-destruct to kind of convince him to do so. And Stamets finally convinces Burnham that they've done all this before. Again, that expression. Just stop. Just stop being on camera. Michael Burnham, I don't want to look at you anymore. He needs her to tell Ash Tyler about Mudd since they shared a cell, but Stamets is like, okay, tell me a secret, Burnham. Tell me a secret to prove we've had this conversation before. Again, I'd like to see Stamets' perspective on this. Like, I think this is just so... I've said it before. This is my biggest problem with this episode. I don't care about Michael Burnham. I just don't care. It feels so disjointed to see the people that don't know time is repeating. That's probably why a lot of the other time repeat shows and films work, because we see it from the perspective of the person that knows. This is just so hard for me to sit through. The first time I watched it, it was one of the less bad episodes because it wasn't infuriatingly bad. This time it's just a chore. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. We do get the funny bit like of Lorca dying a whole bunch of times. So Mudd kills him like how many times here? Yeah, we get a lot of really good like Lorca getting killed by Mudd moments. That was so funny too. So we're back at the party again because time repeating. Stamets tells Burnham that she's never been in love because that was her big secret, to prove that they had this whole conversation before. Finally, 23 minutes in. So he gets Burnham to ask Tyler about Mudd for information, but she's really bad about being a person and messes up. By the way, I'm not sure how convincing this whole she's never been in love thing is supposed to be. Like, no shit, she's never been in love. Just look at her. There are so few human qualities in her that anyone could guess she's never been in love. I just kind of assumed that. So, since she failed last time, Stamets has Burnham dance with him while he coaches her on how to be a person. At least we get some Stamets character development here, and, you know, he has a nice bit of advice about love not being logical, and even snaps at her for trying to lead. This is the stuff that Discovery needs, you know? We also get a good little backstory about him and his boyfriend on the show, Hugh, the doctor. I like Stamets moments. I like people moments. You know, this show really needs some freaking humor and interaction. They spent $8 million an episode and can only get human interaction right by accident, it seems, you know? Like, seriously, why were movies like Clerks so good? It's just people talking. It's not even a movie that's in color, but we have actual characters we actually care about that are actually written to be people. You know, I don't think the writers had the intention of the, like, in this episode anyway, I don't think they ever intended that Lorca, for example, getting killed over and over again was going to be so hilarious, but it was. I mean, we don't care about him. I'm sure they intended him to be, you know, like us to be all heartbroken or shocked over it, but it was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. We need more human things. We need to actually give a crap about these characters. And back on the party again. Dance with me, Ash. Tell me about being locked up with Harry Mudd. I guess it's important to the plot. I guess it's supposed to be funny, endearing. Meh. It's just meh. Ash tells Burnham that Mudd robbed a Betazoid bank. Betazoids. Like the ones that have psychic powers. Like the ones that can read your mind and read your emotions if you're a half Betazoid. Betazoids. Is this just like a name drop and you don't know what a Betazoid is, but you saw it on the Star Trek wiki or something? I'm sorry, but even with like a time loop device, how the hell do you rob a bank that probably has, you know, Betazoids there? You know, and the bank, as Ash points out, has daily DNA password protection, molecular locks, and super duper security. Of course, Burnham learned about, like, time crystals and stuff, so she's assuming it's a time crystal thing because she learned about them at the Vulcan Academy. And for some reason that they probably were made to work by fourth dimensional beings, because we've heard about fourth dimensional beings once on Star Trek before. I don't really think she knows. I think she's just saying a bunch of things that she thinks might be true just to sound smart. You know, it's not like she did that before or anything, trying to calculate to the precise second in the first episode about when the storm would come, and was totally wrong. And if they're trying for that, they're kind of failing at that. That's just something that somebody like me who doesn't like the show very much picks out. That, okay, she's really trying to sound like she knows what she's doing, but she doesn't. Then, hey, Harry Mudd has an arm thing that does stuff. Woo. So Mudd has just taken the ship again and transported Lorca to the brig again. And just who's operating the transporter? But, you know, who cares, right? When you have a purple death ball gobstopper, right? Who cares about all the, you know, plot details and who might be transporting? I don't know. I guess it's supposed to be the most painful way of the 823 ways to die in space. Yes, 200 ways to die in space. There's probably closer to 200 ways to die in space. But the gobstopper thing is supposed to be the most painful of all the ways you can die in space. Talk about one hell of a toothache if you crunch into that one, right? You know, I do like in this scene that Harry Mudd calls one of the bridge officers random communications officer person. That got a chuckle out of me. Like, even Mudd knows that most of the bridge crew are just cardboard cutouts and not actual characters. Burnham and Ash storm the bridge, but Harry Mudd throws that death gobstopper thing at Ash. You know, oh well, he'll be fine in the next loop, I guess. And he took it pretty well for that thing being the most painful way to die out of 823 ways, right? It's like, oh good, Harry Mudd didn't give his last gobstopper to Ash Tyler. He has more to share. He did get them from Lorca's man cave, so I'm pretty sure there's just a bowl of them sitting around, right? The Stamets can't watch Mudd kill any more people, so he tells Mudd that the ship needs him to interface with it to work. Mudd beams himself and Stamets to engineering by, I don't know, let's just say Space Ghost operated the transporter, right? I mean, it makes as much sense as anything else in this episode, right? Scotty was a genius, and even he needed to stand there and make sure that the transporter didn't malfunction, but Harry Mudd can reprogram it in the start of every loop and make sure it doesn't malfunction. Why the crap isn't he working for Starfleet as a transporter chief or something? He's obviously way more qualified than someone like Scotty. Heck, even Chief O'Brien had some issues on Next Gen, right? Hey, Burnham and Tilly are down there scanning the space whale thing. They find out that Mud has a ship inside of it, and inside that is probably the crystal. Inside that crystal, maybe there's a better show that's actually worth watching, but we don't go that deep, sadly. Oh, and that's actually a jumpsuit that Tilly's wearing, not just a top, but it looks really good on her. I like it. She's tall enough to pull it off. I'm not that tall. I probably couldn't pull off a jumpsuit. Is it sad when I'm more distracted by, like, what the characters are wearing than anything else in the show? That's, like, the most positive thing I have to say. Hey, at least the wardrobe's good. At least when they're not in their crappy uniforms. You know, but Burnham and Tilly decide that they need Mud to reset time again, but he has no reason to since he has the ship now. Burnham, however, thinks that the Klingons want something more valuable than the ship. Her. You know, since she's the most important thing in the universe. You know, she's the one that killed that ugly Klingon, Takuma, whatever. Well, they're all ugly now, but Takuma specifically was ugly, in my opinion. She basically wants Ash Tyler back, since he's so important to her, I guess. You know, after, like, one dance or something in a time loop she doesn't even remember, whatever. Acting like he's her soulmate and totally not a Klingon spy. Hey! Yay! Michael Burnham's dead! She grabbed one of those purple death gobstoppers and swallowed it. Sadly, this is just only to force Harry Mudd into one more time reset. Doesn't seem too painful for her either. I think someone might have lied about how painful those purple death gobstoppers are. And here we have Captain Lorca handing over the ship, Burnham, and Stamets to make it go to Harry Mudd. With the promise that Mudd won't kill any more of the crew. Well, that was easy, right? Or not. I guess during one of those time loop things, they did some digging on Harry Mudd's wife, Stella. You know, he's mentioned her a time or two, saying that the war took her from him, and he's all pissed because of it. Of course he's lying. They found her info in Discovery's phone book, I guess. They could just, you know, let their fingers do the walking through the yellow pages. White pages for residential, right? He ended up ripping off her wealthy father and needed the Klingons to pay him off. The crew is clever, and we rewired the captain's chair to send the message to Stella, not the Klingons, though. Because Harry Mudd was like, yep, I'm going to send the message to the Klingons that the ship's ready to go. So Stella and her father transport over from their ship. But when did they have time to get here so fast? Did they send a message in a prior loop? Are messages not affected by the time loop? Why didn't the Klingons show up anyway if that was the case? They were messaged as well, right? Like, how close was the ship anyway that they could just beam over right away? Like, the moment it was convenient. Space is really, really big, right? If they were that close, why would they even be that close to a super secret experimental ship? Like, the crew of Discovery also just hands him over to Stella and her father, making the dad promise to keep Mudd out of Starfleet's way. But what about the time crystal thing? His ship. Is the space whale okay? Did they ever get him to safety? Like, did they confiscate all the time loop stuff? If they have it, why the hell can't they use it to win the Klingon War? You know, furthermore, why wouldn't Mudd sell all the information he has to the Klingons now? His memories are intact, and he knows how the whole ship works, and that Michael Burnham's on the ship, and they're really just gonna let him go? For a show that tries really hard to have a season-long story arc, like, this one-and-done episode is so out of place. It has more plot holes than anything I think I've seen in this show. And it even has that sort of TOS sort of ending where it's like, yuck, yuck, everything's fine. It kind of ends on a little bit of a joke here with... I think there's another scene after this, but who the hell cares, right? It's so icky feeling to sit through this. There's so many questions I have. Like... Even if we do kind of accept that, okay, they're trying to be a little bit more like TOS and have sort of a yuck sort of funny ending, right? I don't ever recall Kirk letting somebody who tried to kill him just go. I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong in that one. Not only did Mudd try and kill people, he tried to steal, a Federation starship, an experimental one at that. He has all this information. Like, the first time I saw this, I didn't hate it as much as the previous episodes. This time, I could only watch it in maybe 10-minute chunks. It was really hard to sit through again, like for a second time, knowing all the plot holes and all the stupid crap that was coming. The show really breaks my brain. But, you know, thanks again so much for going through this with me, everyone. It's been fun to see all the little things that I've missed in this one, even though it's a tough sit. I do love to pick apart this show because I truly want it to be better. And maybe the writers will pay attention to all the criticism that's out there on the internet and just give us good Star Trek next season. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next episode, or come over to the live streams where I talk about stuff while I game. Bye!